You now have permission to crack open those hot sodas, boys and girls. But you will be fucking pissed at yourself for the amount of time and money and mental energy that you invested in nonsense in your teens and your 20s. You got to know, like, it's important to play, Factorio and space out and unwind and like not face how fucking shitty life is. Like, I get why you have to do that, okay? But you need to know that that's a waste of time. That is burning time. You're burning your most precious resource. And that's fine if you're so fucked up and so fried and so burnt out that you need to like get a diamond pickaxe and make an iron ore smelter in order to like relieve some of that tension in your brain. And I'm not being facetious here. Like, sometimes that is very important. But you got to know that like the clock is ticking. And with the relationship stuff, like, if in your teens or in your like early to mid 20s, you're spending any serious amount of time stressing over girl stuff, like, you gotta just know, like, you can do that. I'm not saying you have to be some sort of like complete control over your emotions, like mental willpower guy that's just like, I'm a robot, I don't feel anything. But you need to know that you're like doing a burnout in reverse. Like, you're going down the highway and you're shifting into like reverse and you're like going off the road. Like, you need to know that that's what's happening. You have to be conscious, like, and that doesn't mean you have to stop doing it right away. That doesn't mean you can't be emotional. It doesn't mean you can't, waste time doing stuff, but you have to know that you're wasting time. You have to be, like, as you're doing it, you have to say to yourself, okay, I'm gonna spend today being heartbroken. Mental note to self, just so I know, I'm doing the life equivalent of like bashing all the windows out of my house right now. Like, I'm doing the life equivalent of like giving myself sandpaper burns all over my body. So just know that you're doing that. Time is a resource like money, but it's way more valuable than money. Like, time is a measurable resource, and you can use it wisely, or you can totally burn it. You can totally fuck your life up and burn through time. You can set fire to your vault of time. Like, you have like in The Dark Knight, the Joker one, like that pile of money when he burns all the money. Like, you have that. You have, if you're 17, if you're 21, even if you're like 26, if you're in that bracket, okay? Let's say you're fat, you're fucked up, you're addicted to like cartoons or fucking some Japanese thing or whatever. You've got some kind of crazy addiction. You got a bad diet. You got no money. You're like just fucked. Your parents, you live with your parents and they smoke weed. They're like hippie parents, and so you have to listen to like a weed bubbler all night, okay? You live with like scum, like the worst roommates ever, and they like leave hair in the shower and they're like stealing your food all the time, whatever, okay? You're working at like, you have a job, the worst job possible. You've got some like back-breaking job at like Lowe's or something. You're just accomplishing nothing, okay? You're in that bracket. You have a like Taj Mahal, like palace of time. You have a fucking, like in Die Hard 3 when they steal the gold from the gold reserves. That's how much time you have. That's what you have right now, okay? I don't care if you're like the most fucked up worm, like level 0 slime, like dickhead, like you're just in hell. If you are in that age bracket, you have this resource, this like sick, like fucking, like imagine a cigarette boat with like a Lamborghini engine and like millions of dollars in suitcases and like hot bitches. Like, that's the equivalent that you have of time. And that's true. Unless you're like stupid, unless you're just so stupid that you just can't escape, in which case, just pirate Factorio and cheers, have a good time. Oh my God. And really, you can use that time more or less however you want. A lot of it's gonna be spent sleeping. If you have to hold down some shitty job, then you're gonna burn through some hours there. But you have time, man. You have time to build skills, to better yourself, to get in shape, to make your time more valuable, and that's a big one. And I think you should read Scott Adams' book, whatever the one is, the one that, you know, his book, I forget. You'll look at the titles, you'll see which one I'm talking about. The Scott Adams book. It's like how I failed at everything and kept going or whatever. Like, look at that, read that book. Girl stuff aside, just be conscious of when you're wasting time. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to be like some supernatural, like Mr. Willpower, like, oh, I'll never waste time. I will always maximize productivity, because you just naturally, your brain can't operate that way. You gotta have hobbies, you gotta have stuff you do to unwind, like that's very important. But when you're getting too wrapped up in your hobbies, or you're getting too wrapped up in stuff that feels like a hobby, but is not really unwinding, like going on social media and getting into the real sick ass Factorio Minecraft shit and basically making a job out of gaming. I talked to one guy who said, he's a good guy, he said he's got 47 different mods installed in Factorio. He's got a mod that makes it so the train lays train tracks. And he was saying that like having this like hyper modded up, like steroid version of Factorio makes it so that regular Factorio is like a kid's game. That's too far. I'm afraid that might be a little too far. It's too far for me. I can't go there with you. I can't be there to help you out if you get caught in that. I have like 500 hours logged in Dota 2. And don't get me wrong, some of those games were really fun, especially the ones playing Dota 2 with Chuck in the same room at the same time and just like screaming and laughing and having really good times even when we lost. But probably about 450 of those hours was just like toil, like useless toil that was not relaxing and not unwinding, not conducive to getting the creative juices flowing. That's just time burnt. 450 hours, what can you do with 450 hours? You can do a lot with that. Having a job, man, oh man, what a fucking bummer that was. And I have a lot of friends who make music and do creative type stuff, and they can't really focus on it or do anything serious with it because they have these fucking jobs. And what I did was I just totally minimized everything in my life. Lived with my mom at like age 25 or 26. I was living out of the Subaru for like a month or two. Just eating cheap, get oatmeal, go to fucking McDonald's, I guess, get a McDouble. I mean, eat cheap, whatever you gotta do. Oatmeal and bananas and peanut butter will keep you covered. But like, man, those jobs are killers, man. If you have any other route you can take, get out of that fucking job. Like, don't, that burns so much time. You get in there, and then 8 months, a year later, you look around and you're like exhausted and totally tired, and you just spent a year doing what? For what? You don't have money. You didn't save any money. What did you do? You paid for your existence? Like, fucking crash a couch, find something. Like get a car, stay in your car, shower at the gym, and bring your laptop to Starbucks every day. Whatever, like do that. That's better in a lot of cases than working some shitty ass job. And it's like a demoralizing, crappy way to live, but if you want to, get the ball rolling, you have to spend some time taking your dagger and killing level 1 slimes in the level 1 of the dungeon. Gotta help the lady clear out the rats in her basement. That's a Daggerfall reference, my friends. But that's one of the things that's good in that Scott Adams book, is talking about making your time more valuable and figuring out things you can do that will bring in income without putting in more hours, like having ebooks. And this is not, everybody can't be writing ebooks. The economy's not going to support that, but figure something out for yourself. But that's important, is to just realize what a precious resource time is. Rich people don't have as much time as you. There's old rich people with millions of dollars who are less wealthy than you because they do not have time. Time is much more valuable than money is, and chances are you have a shitload of it. And if you can't find a way to turn it into money, that's your fault. And you got to start thinking about that. Like, be a little harder on yourself. If you don't have a skill, if you don't have something that makes you valuable to someone else, if you don't have something you can sell, if you don't have something that makes it so that you can put in a little bit of hours and from that, like, live, prosper, and grow, you gotta get something like that. And there's really no excuse for having it, for not having it. So that's about it. The advice that I gave to the guy going through the breakup is anything that's not related to making money, bettering yourself, making yourself more valuable, or like getting your shit on track with a good plan, anything that's not related to that directly, fuck that shit. Wipe that out. Put blinders on. Get that out of your life, okay? If there's something, a breakup or a toxic friend or something that's gonna like fuck your head up for a month, just push it away completely, okay? Get that out of there. Because when you're young, that's when you have energy. That's when it's time to focus on high energy stuff. Building skills, making money, working hard. These are the years when you can physically afford to work to exhaustion. So that's my advice for you today. All right, that's it. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out.